Beloved one, examine your essence right now. For the past 7 days, you've felt pressure in your thorax. The unexpected, unexplained anxiety that wakes you up at night when the house is quiet. Avoid combating it. That's not an assault. Your spiritual sensor detects a significant frequency shift before your eyes do. God is issuing a warning. The billionaire transition is fast approaching your timeline. However, pay close attention, as this is the portion that has not been disclosed to you. This isn't a lottery win. This is not a game of chance. This remuneration applies retroactively to military personnel. Heaven is releasing a backlog of resources from your lineage, including wealth stolen from your ancestors, and placing it in your possession for a specific purpose. You have been appointed as the kingdom's financier. God is not sending this overflow to provide you with comfort. He's transmitting it to make you a threat to the enemy. However, this is a cautionary tale. Your life will be disrupted if you try to keep this high-voltage blessing with a destitution mindset. The protocol is required. The clearance code is required, and if you remain with me, I will immediately provide you with the vault keys. Before we proceed, it is critical that you understand the specific nature of the events taking place in the spirit domain. Because the majority of people are looking for a quick cure or a magic spell to pay their rent, they will most likely skip over this article. Nonetheless, you remain present because your spirit recognizes the unusual nature of the situation. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the 3-account system designed to prepare you for the excess. I will reveal the 5 distinct spirits who seek high-level prosperity in order to keep them out of your home. At the end of this video, we'll hold an activation ceremony to wrap your life in a new financial mantle. Please avoid skipping any of this. This is not entertainment. This is your transfer briefing. Power cannot be managed unless safety protocols are followed. As a result, I require immediate clarification on who is willing to assume this responsibility. Who is among the remnant that God is preparing to serve as the treasurers of the end times? If that is the case, please subscribe to this channel right away to ensure that you are in sync. Press the like button to signal to the spiritual realm that you are awake and attentive. In addition, please submit a statement in the remarks section below. Do not just type words, type them with purpose. Write, I am the container. Execute the action immediately. Prove to the adversary that you are no longer operating in the shadows. Now, let's look at your actual location. I'm curious about the moment you kept hidden from everyone else. A moment that makes you feel ashamed, even though it should not. It is 2 a.m. You are awake while the rest of the world sleeps. You could be perched on the edge of your bed or in a parking lot, looking at the steering wheel of your car. The sole source of illumination is the blue radiance emitted by your smartphone. You're currently viewing a digital bank statement. You're feeling a physical knot in your stomach as you scroll through a PDF of invoices. It is extremely cold. It is constricted. It feels like a heavy stone resting at the base of your stomach. You look at the figures, and they are illogical. You are conscientious in your work. You engage in prayer. You contribute by tithing. You offer assistance to others. You have a heart of gold. However, the calculations are inconclusive. You feel like a lion confined in an inadequately sized enclosure. You are consumed by a desire to build orphanages, provide financial assistance to churches, help your family, and transform your community. You are currently trapped in a $10 reality despite having billion-dollar dreams. This disconnect generates a specific type of discomfort. It represents the humiliation of powerlessness. So, you ask God, why? Why did you give me this vision if you weren't going to provide me with the necessary resources? Why did you elevate me to the status of a spiritual monarch while allowing me to live as a pauper in the physical world? Is this an act of retribution? Was there an error on my end? Please listen carefully. Select individuals. The anxiety you feel at the exact moment, the frustration that drives you to yell. I'd like you to reframe the situation at this point. This is not indicative of failure. That indicates a lack of alignment. Your internal frequency has already changed to the billionaire setting, which is why you are in agony. However, your external reality remains in poverty mode. 30. The heat is caused by the friction between your identity and your location. Anxiety is not the cause. Kinetic energy is waiting to be released. You see, the world informs you that you are concerned about your financial situation. However, the Holy Spirit is informing me that you are agitated because you are pregnant with a purpose that requires resources that you do not currently have. You are not experiencing financial difficulties. You don't have enough momentum. You are a conduit designed to transport an ocean. However, you are currently only observing a small amount. This void you are feeling is actually the groaning of a vessel pleading for a refill. Pay close attention to the Hebrew term used in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. But remember the Lord your God, for He is the one who grants you the capacity to accumulate wealth. It is not just financial. The term coach means vigor. It represents vigor. It indicates the ability to persevere. Means the vigor of a wild ox. God doesn't simply give you money. If He provided you with currency without coach, the gold would be so heavy that it would break your back. He gives you the internal structure, capacity, and power to create and sustain wealth. As a result, God is not examining the debt while you are sitting at 2 a.m. and examining the invoices. He is examining the structure of your spirit. He's inspecting your coach. He is conducting an assessment of your abilities due to the upcoming opening of the floodgates. The retroactive military payment is now being processed. The billionaire transition isn't a metaphor. The movement of resources is the case. However, the following is a perilous reality that must be addressed before the transfer. You believe that the issue is a lack of sufficient income. You believe that if God deposited $1 million into your account right now, all of your problems would be solved. You're mistaken. You would not be saved if God released that amount of heavy, high-voltage resources into your life at this time, given your current spiritual infrastructure. It would be a complete disaster for you. For what reason? Why? Because the problem isn't with the supply. The container is the problem. Imagine you're praying for rain while holding a container. You're asking God to send a flood. However, you are unaware that your container has a hole in its bottom. A void caused by generational trauma, concealed fears, and mindset. By failing to understand the true purpose of this money. If God responds to your prayer and sends rain at this time, the force of the flood will rip the bucket handle off. The water will pass directly through you. You'll be left with a broken heart and damp palms. As a result, the first stage of this billionaire transition involves refraining from requesting more precipitation. It's repairing the container. The breach needs to be identified. The cavity needs to be repaired. D. We must fortify your vessel's walls to ensure that it will not split during the transfer. Furthermore, the disclosure is not as you perceive it. The problem isn't the excessive spending on coffee. It is a far more profound issue. something that has been embedded in your subconscious since childhood. Bad spending habits are not the cause of the leak in your bucket. Your theology is the cause of the breach. The lottery mindset has specifically infected the spiritual community. I'd like to address the unadulterated raw thought that has been circling in the back of your mind. I am aware of its presence because I have taken the same seat as you. You examine the reports. You investigate social media platforms. And you see people who are less spiritual, less benevolent, and possibly even more evil than you, living in absolute abundance. They have automobiles. The buildings are theirs. They are free. And a voice in your head whispers, God, why them? What is the reason for your blessing on those who are unaware of your name? While I am here serving you, praying for you, and fasting for you, and struggling to keep the lights on, you are secretly wishing for a rescue operation. While traveling, you mentally practice scenarios. Imagine you're checking your bank account and come across a mysterious deposit. You envision a distant relative bequeathing you an inheritance. You anticipate that God will activate the lottery for you. You believe that if God just gave you the money, everything would be fine. Please listen carefully. Select individuals. That is the source of the disclosure. The transfer has yet to take place because the expectation is for a magical rescue that requires no preparation. Because you would not be in command of that prosperity if God had bestowed it on you immediately, while you are in this passive state of waiting. You would be a victim of it. The lottery perspective contends that money is required to resolve one's problems. According to the kingdom mindset, I must have the ability to solve the world's problems. Money is simply the tool that I use to accomplish this. It's unlikely that God will grant you a lottery win. He is too fond of you to treat you like a charity case. He will give you something that is both permanent and hazardous. He is assigning you a task. This billionaire transition does not compensate for your anguish. It is a deployment for your future. We should go back to the manual. Verse 18 of Deuteronomy chapter 8. I have previously addressed this issue. However, we must address this verse immediately. It is said that he gives you the ability to accumulate wealth. When we read the word power in English, we usually interpret it as permission. We believe that God is giving you the opportunity to become wealthy. No, the Hebrew term used there is coach. Pray that in your heart, coach. It is a muscular and reptile-related term. It implies that a lizard's tail can be regenerated, indicating its vitality. It suggests the stamina of a bovine capable of plowing a field for 12 hours without rest. Coach is not a check that comes in the mail. Coach serves as a power plant. It is a divine generator that is implanted in your spirit and creates abundance out of thin air. God does not provide you with fruit when He gives you coach. He's providing you with the root system. He is equipping you with the ability to observe a crisis and identify a solution worth billions. He is offering you the fortitude to deal with the stress of high-level decision-making. He has given you the authority to command that resources be delivered to you. Therefore, instead of searching for the product, inspect your engine. You are frustrated because you are requesting apples from God while He is attempting to establish an orchard within your bosom. He does not want you to have money for an extended period. He desires that you have the ability to generate wealth for future generations. He desires that you be a fountain, not a puddle. A pool anticipates precipitation. A fountain is powered by an underground, invisible source that propels water upward. You're moving from puddle thinking to fountain thinking. You may be wondering, what about the years I lost? Or what about the struggle? What is the current status of the debt that is weighing heavily on me? You're being heard. This brings us to the most powerful concept in the entire broadcast. This establishes the legal foundation for the billionaire transition. Shalom is a Hebrew concept. The word's root is shalom, which is commonly associated with the concept of harmony. However, its meaning is much more aggressive. It expresses completeness. It means restitution, but in biblical law, restitution is never one-on-one. The law requires a criminal who is apprehended to repay the stolen property sevenfold. He must not only repay the amount he took, but also pay interest, penalties, and damages. Consider the last decade of your life. Consider the tension, the sleepless nights, the missed opportunities, and the strained relationships caused by financial hardship. That was not simply a case of bad luck. That was theft. Your potential has been snatched by the devourer, your opponent. Fortunately, there is some good news. God is the just arbiter, and He has reviewed your life's records. He witnessed the crime and issued a decree of shalom. This suggests that the billionaire shift that occurs for you is not arbitrary. Back pay is the term. It is interest calculated retroactively on each tear you have shed. It represents the sevenfold return on each seed planted in the earth during the famine. For a brief moment, imagine a courtroom in paradise. The gavel has just been lowered. The judge made a favorable decision on your behalf. The antagonist has been directed to repay the debt. This is the cause of the significant change. It's not just your salary. It is the culmination of generations of righteous struggle in your lineage. They are now receiving the wealth that the wicked had previously amassed. However, there is one caveat. This is the conclusion you must understand. Shalom is in your grasp. This is the impending deluge. Coach is accessible to you. This is the capacity to produce. However, Coach requires a framework to facilitate the flow of information. A grid is required for the distribution of electricity. Pipes are required for water. If the Hoover Dam released all of its water today and you could only capture it with a garden hose, the hose would explode due to the pressure. The majority of the chosen are now standing beneath the floodgates of paradise, each holding a spoon. You're requesting an ocean. However, your emotional capacity, management systems, habits, and structure are all designed to hold a teaspoon. If God answers your prayer today, the blessing will become a curse. It would evict you. Therefore, the question is not whether God will provide the funds. The question is, do you have the utensil or bucket? Do you own the war treasury, or do you just have a checking account? In the coming minutes, I will demonstrate how to construct the container. I will give you the blueprint for the 3-account system that will elevate you from consumer to commander. To construct this container, you must mentally accompany me to a specific location. I'd like you to imagine yourself in a peaceful setting, seated at a substantial oak workstation. Clutter is absent. There are no unpaid invoices scattered across the surface. You are presented with a laptop that is currently connected to your banking interface. There is no such thing as delusion. This serves as a foreshadowing of your upcoming circumstances. There isn't a single checking account on the screen for you to frantically swipe your card against until it declines. That's the behavior of a castaway, not a steward. Rather, you see 3 separate vaults. This 3-account system regulates the flow of billionaire shifts. The repository is the initial account. This is not a savings account. This is a sacred account. In ancient times, the storehouse was where the initial produce was stored. The portion belonged to God. When the transfer has an impact on your life, the money must first be moved into the storehouse. This is your seed, offering, and tithe. For what reason? As a result of eating the first portion, the rest of the harvest is cursed. You are telling God that I have more faith in my intestines than in your supply. Your spiritual insurance policy is the storehouse. It asserts that you are a channel and not a dam. The military chest represents the second account. This is the one that is absent. This is why you are still having difficulty. The war treasury is not intended for spending. It's not for a new car. It is not meant for a vacation. It's intended for coach. It's the capital. It's ammunition. This cash is sitting in this location, waiting for a divine command to spread. It is the capital used to buy land, start a business, or invest in kingdom initiatives. It serves as the groundwork for your future empire. You will not have a future if you consume your spawn. The war chest is where you can demonstrate your ability to be trusted with power. Bread is the final account. This is meant for your use. This is for your shelter, food, and clothes. Live on this. The impoverished mindset's fatal error is that any incoming funds are immediately transferred to the bread account. You eat all foods. As a result, you may question why you lack authority. The protocol for the billionaire shift reverses this flow. Prior to the war treasury, funds are received at the storehouse. The bread is the sole recipient of the remaining portion. To govern with the surplus, one must first learn to live on the remainder. You may be thinking, but I barely have enough for bread right now. How can I divide it into 3 equal portions? Chosen one, you do not need to wait until you are wealthy to start this system. You set up this system with the intention of accumulating wealth. Even if you only have $10, divide it. $1 to the storehouse, $2 to the war chest, and $7 for bread. So, before the billion arrives, you are creating the neural pathways of a billionaire in your brain. You're repairing the opening in your bucket. I must demonstrate the importance of this matter. I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Michael. This is an authentic story. Michael, like you, was a chosen one. For 20 years, he prayed for a breakthrough. He was generous and caring, but he lacked a vessel. He did not have a war chest. The breakthrough happened in one day. Following a series of miraculous events, he received a lump sum of $10 million. He prayed for the transfer. I'd like you to focus on the moment he received the check. Imagine him standing in the bank lobby, clutching the piece of paper. His hands trembled. He felt a sense of victory. He believed the war was over, but he only had a spoon, not a bucket. He transferred the $10 million into a single large bread account. He acquired the mansion. He purchased the automobiles for his acquaintances. He offered financial assistance to every relative who shed a tear. He believed the supply was limitless. I'd like to arrange for you to see him again, 2 years later. He is currently sitting on the floor of the vacant mansion. The furniture has been repossessed. The electricity has been turned off. The hallway echo of his footsteps sounds like an accusation. He is not just impoverished. He is shattered. He is in debt. He is enraged with God and depressed. He screams at the ceiling. Why did you give this to me if you intended to take it away? But it was not revoked by God. Michael disposed of it. He ate his seed. He depleted his war chest. He lacked the internal structure to withstand the weight of glory, which crushed him. The blessing became a burden because of his lack of stewardship architecture. I am not telling you this to scare you. Rather, it is to protect you. Before the fall, you were Michael. You can currently open the accounts before the deposit is cleared. So, why have you not implemented this measure yet? Why do you feel resistance as I speak? Right now, we should do some shadow work. I'd like you to briefly close your eyes in the present moment, at your current location. Don't move your body. Simply focus your attention inward. Examine the resistance. Doesn't it feel like your throat is constricted? It evokes apprehension. That hesitation conceals a crude, repulsive idea. The whispering implies that I must be accountable for my finances if I organize them. I am vulnerable to becoming a victim as long as I am in financial distress. I have the authority to assign responsibility to the economy. The system may be held accountable. I am allowed to fault God. However, if I construct the vessel and receive the funds, but am ultimately unsuccessful, I am solely responsible. You worry about accountability. You're concerned that money will alter your personality. You have spent your entire life believing that money is the root of all evil. You've seen wealthy people who are cruel and arrogant, and you made an inner vow, a secret promise to yourself as a child, that you'd never be like them. You are subconsciously displacing money. You undermine your own blessing by linking poverty to holiness. It is critical that you immediately terminate that agreement. Visualize that vow as a heavy gray coat that you have been wearing for decades in your mind. It emits an aroma of shame and dust. It is the victim's coat. I want you to grasp the collar of that coat with your spiritual hands, feel its texture, and in your imagination, rip it off your shoulders and toss it into the fire on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Dispose of it. Feel the air as it strikes your skin. You are liberated from the deception. Money is not malevolent. Money is impartial. Money functions as a magnifying glass. When one is proficient, money enhances their abilities. Money renders one a philanthropist if they are generous. Money provides a sword to a kingdom warrior. The system, the storehouse, the war chest, and the bread are currently in your possession. You have shed the cloak of poverty. However, there is still a single obstacle that prevents you from achieving your goals. A persistent apprehension, a voice that asks, "But where does this money originate? Is it truly God? Alternatively, is it a snare?" You are prepared for the truth. You are prepared to comprehend the precise origin of this billionaire shift. I must caution you that the information I am about to provide will challenge your preconceived notions about the operation of God. It entails a transfer from an unexpected source. The coat of poverty has been removed by you. In your mind, you have established the 3-account system. However, you continue to harbor reservations. The sensation is palpable. The fear is a quiet, persistent apprehension that you have been hesitant to express aloud due to the perception that it is unappreciative. However, we are going to bring it to the forefront at this time. You are apprehensive that this money will alter your personality. You fear that if the billionaire shift occurs and you awaken with 7 figures in your account, you will lose your soul. Your relationship with God will be severed. You will emulate the arrogant, greedy individuals who have caused you harm in the past. This apprehension is not irrational. You have observed it occur. You have observed individuals transform into monsters as they acquire a small amount of power. You have observed pastors accumulate wealth and cease to communicate the truth. You have observed your friends receive promotions and cease to respond to your phone calls. And in your heart, You have such a profound love for God that you would prefer to remain impoverished and in close proximity to Him rather than become wealthy and disengaged. That is an admirable apprehension. However, it is founded on a fabrication. The following is the truth regarding money. Money is not a corrupting factor. The nature of money is to reveal. Money functions as a spiritual magnifying glass. Money will transform an arrogant and impoverished individual into a despot. However, money will transform you into a philanthropist if you are both generous and impoverished. Money will extend the global reach of your kindness if you are kind when you have nothing. The mere fact that you are concerned about this indicates that you are secure. The arrogant are not concerned with the possibility of losing their soul. The character of the greedy is not a concern. Your qualification is proven by your fear. However, the moment of truth has now arrived, the chosen one. At this juncture, everything transitions. Lean in close to me. I require you to eliminate all sources of distraction in the room. I am about to disclose the genuine origin of this billionaire shift. And it is not what you assume. This is not the type of instruction you received in Sunday school. You have been operating under the assumption that in order for you to be blessed, God must generate new money. Do you believe that He is required to print it in heaven and then send it down to earth? You believe that this wealth is a gift. You're mistaken. This wealth is not a gift. Reassignment is the term. The wealth of the sinner is reserved for the just, as stated in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22. Read it once more with your spirit. It is being stored when it is laid up. It is currently being stored. Management is underway. However, who is responsible for its oversight? The wicked, the sinner, and the adversaries of God. The enemy has been accumulating the resources of this planet for generations. In order to establish his kingdom, advance his agenda, suppress the truth, and oppress God's people, he has employed gold, land, media, and technology. He has been occupying property that does not belong to him. Your name is recorded on the deed which he has been using to spend money. However, the lease is expiring. This billionaire shift is not a lottery. It is a hostile takeover. It is a divine asset recovery operation. You are not receiving a blessing from God. You are being recruited by Him. He is weary of witnessing His assets being allocated to the financing of darkness. He is in search of a secure residence. He is in pursuit of a location to relocate the assets where they will be utilized for his accomplishments. Additionally, he has observed the earth. Millions of hearts have been examined by him, and his gaze has fallen upon you. I would like you to be aware of the current communication between the Spirit of God and the enemy. I desire for you to be able to hear the direct dialogue that is taking place in the courts of heaven. God is rising from his throne and pointing to the wicked's stockpiles, announcing, "You have held it for an inordinate amount of time. You have misused it for an extended period of time. You have utilized my gold to construct idols. My children have been enslaved by your use of my silver. However, I am launching the transfer protocol today. I am transferring the keys from your possession to the hand of my chosen individual. Not due to their perfection, but rather due to their purification. They possess the war chest. They possess the framework. Hand it over. This alters everything. Are you experiencing a change in your identity? You are not a consumer who is anticipating a handout. You are a spy for the kingdom operating from behind enemy lines. You are an agent who specializes in asset recovery. The money that is deposited into your account is not yours to spend on vanity. You are currently overseeing the king's confiscated contraband. It is for this reason that the assault on your life has been so severe. Your vulnerability was not the reason for the enemy's attack. He was attacking you because you represented a threat to his funding. He was aware that God would employ you to drain his accounts if you ever woke up, realized who you were, or constructed the vessel. You are not merely a believer. You are a financial weapon of mass destruction that is employed against the kingdom of darkness. Therefore, we should immediately administer an exorcism, not to a demon, but to an identity. We will dispose of the consumer identity and activate the commander identity. I would like you to engage in a mental exercise with me. You can do this with your eyes open or closed. I want you to visualize yourself standing in a large warehouse. It is dimly light. In the center of the room, there is a table. On one side of the table stands a shadowy figure. That is the enemy. He is holding a heavy iron key. He is angry. He is trembling. He does not want to let it go. On the other side of the table is you, but you are not the old you. You are wearing the armor of a general. You are standing tall. Behind you stands the Lion of Judah. God speaks one word: release. Watch the enemy's hand open. Watch him slam that iron key onto the table and back away into the darkness. Now, in your mind, I want you to reach out and pick up that key. Feel the cold metal in your hand. Feel the weight of it. That is the key to the storehouse of the wicked. It is now in your possession. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Inhale the authority. Exhale the victim mentality. You have the key. The transfer has been legally authorized. The loop is closed. The billionaire shift is simply the return of stolen property to its rightful owner. But now a new question arises, a dangerous question. Now that you have the key, now that you know this is war money, what do you actually do with it? How do you spend money that is meant for war without blowing your cover? How do you live in Babylon, but operate by the banking laws of Zion? If you start spending this money like a lottery winner, you will expose your position. If you buy flashy cars and the big chains just to show off to your haters, you are not acting like a spy. You are acting like a target. A spy does not draw attention to themselves. A spy moves in silence. A spy uses resources to infiltrate, to influence, and to liberate without the enemy even knowing who hit him. You need a new strategy. You need to know how to deploy this capital with the precision of a sniper. You need to know how to walk into a room and shift the atmosphere with your wallet without saying a word. This is the new paradigm of the wealthy believer. We are not here to look rich. We are here to be dangerous. But listen to me very carefully. This is the warning I promised you. This is the cliffhanger that cannot be ignored. When you picked up that key in the spirit realm, a silent alarm went off in the headquarters of hell. The enemy understands he has lost the assets. He knows the transfer has begun. He cannot prevent God from giving it to you, but he can try to stop you from keeping it. He will not send a demon with pitchforks and horns. This would be too obvious. You'd rebuke that in a second. No, he's smart. He is strategic. He is going to send 5 specific assassins to your door. They will not resemble monsters. They'll look like friends. They'll look like opportunities. They will resemble your own emotions. They are the Treasury's 5 assassins, and they have one mission: to make you fumble the bag and disqualify yourself before the check is cleared. They are targeting your character. They are coming for your ego. They're coming for your relationships. The first assassin is already observing you. He is waiting for the first zero in your bank account. And if you don't recognize his face or know his name, he'll take you out before you even write your first check. Who are they? So how do you defeat them? Keep your focus, because the war has only just begun. The first assassin is the spirit of Mammon. You've heard his name at church, but you've never seen his face like this. Mammon is more than just a love of money. Mammon, an ancient intelligent spirit, demands to be your master. When you're broke, Mammon ignores you. However, the moment the billionaire shift begins, Mammon knocks on your door and offers you a bargain. He promises you security if you give him your anxiety. He whispers, "You don't have to pray for daily bread anymore. You have a full account. You're safe now." Do you see the trap? Mammon wants you to trust the deposit rather than the depositor. He wants you to look at your bank account to determine your mood. If the number is high, you are satisfied. If the number decreases, you are depressed. That is a sign that Mammon has taken the throne. He intends to disconnect you from the source by making you fall in love with the resource. The second assassin is the spirit of guilt. This is the ghost of your previous poverty returning to haunt your future prosperity. As the blessings begin to pour in, this spirit will stand at the foot of your bed whispering, "You do not deserve this." Look at your family. They're struggling. Who do you think you are to live in the overflow? You should feel ashamed. This spirit harnesses your empathy. It tries to make you feel like a criminal for accepting God's peace. It wants you to sabotage your own success in order to stand in solidarity with those suffering. It teaches you that poverty is humble, while wealth is arrogant. That is a lie from the pit of hell, intended to make you reject the very ammunition God is sending you. The third assassin is the spirit of the consumer. This is the hole in the bucket that I warned about. This spirit is insatiable. It teaches you that the goal of money is to improve your lifestyle, not your impact. It says you've suffered for 10 years. You deserve a reward. Buy the car, the watch, and show them you've made it. The consumer spirit will have you eat your seed before it even hits the ground. It transforms the general into a glutton. It wants you to appear rich rather than be wealthy. The fourth assassin is the spirit of pride. This one's subtle. It doesn't look evil. It seems like a success. It tells you that you did this. You worked hard. You created this. It removes the memory of God's grace and replaces it with your own ego. When pride enters, God leaves. When God leaves, the protection lifts, and the devourer returns 7 times stronger. But now we must face the fifth assassin. This is the most dangerous of all. This is the one that will hurt the most because it wears the faces of people you care about. This is a leech. I need you to focus on a specific moment that is coming for you. It might be a family barbecue. It could be a holiday dinner or simply a random phone call on a Tuesday night. The billionaire shift has begun to manifest in your life. You've paid off your debts. You've purchased a nice house. You are walking with a new level of confidence. Then the leech approaches you. This is a family member or close friend who has witnessed your struggle, but has never helped you. But now that you're awake, they're suddenly very present. Listen to the direct dialogue. Listen to the script because it is intended to bypass logic and trigger emotions. They pull you aside and say, "Hey, I am very proud of you. I always knew you'd make it." Then comes a pause. Then comes the sigh. They look down at their shoes and say, "I didn't want to ask, but I'm in a tight spot right now." The car had broken down. The rent is due. I only need a few thousand. It means nothing to you, right? You've got so much now. We are family. You wouldn't let your own blood suffer, right? Do you hear the manipulation? Are you feeling the hook? They are exploiting your shared history. They are using your bloodline to demand access to your kingdom's resources. If you say no, the mask will fall off. The tone changes immediately. They respond, "Oh, I see how it is." You believe you are better than us now. You got a little money and forgot where you were from. You experienced a transformation. You're selfish. I remember buying you lunch 5 years ago. Is this how you're repaying me? This is an assassination attempt. The leech does not want a loan. They want a lifeline. They do not wish to be empowered. They want to be enabled. And giving in to this emotional blackmail will not help them. You're funding their dysfunction. You are taking holy resources from your war chest money that were intended to build the kingdom and pouring them into a black hole. You must understand the spiritual dynamic at hand. The leech believes they are entitled to your harvest without contributing to your labor. They want shalom without suffering. The enemy is using their voice to drain you dry. He understands that if he can tie your finances to a dead weight, you will be unable to fly. Let us examine the biblical context for this confrontation. Luke chapter 16, verse 11. So Jesus says, "If you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will trust you with the true riches?" We need to dig deeper into the context here. This is the parable of the astute manager. Jesus refers to money as mammon, the unrighteous. For what reason? Because in this world, money is contaminated. It is only temporary. It is a component of a failed system. But here's the big reveal. God puts this tainted, temporary worldly money to the test in order to promote you to eternal life. He is saying, "I'm watching how you handle the papers. I'm watching how you handle money. How can I believe you have spiritual authority if you let the leech defraud you of your money? How can I put my faith in you if you are paralyzed by guilt? How can I put my trust in you if you worship money? Money is a training ground. It's a simulator. God is not giving you the billionaire shift just to see if you can become wealthy. He is giving it to you to see if you will be faithful. Can you say no to your mother when her request goes against God's instructions for your war chest? Can you say no to your ego's desire to buy a toy rather than a tool? Can you stand firm as a steward when everyone else is pressuring you to spend? This is the ultimate test for the steward. And now I want you to perform a mental action to sever the leech's cords. You do not have to call them. You don't have to fight them physically. We're going to do this in the spirit. I want you to close your eyes and envision yourself standing in a circle of light. This is your stewardship boundary. Outside of this circle, in the shadows, you notice thick gray ropes extending from the darkness, attempting to latch onto your waist, wallet, or heart. These are others' expectations. These are the leech's manipulative words. These are the guilt trips of the past. You have a blue fire sword in your hand. This is the sword of truth. I want you to take a deep breath. And as you exhale, swing the sword around you in a 360-degree arc. Cut the cords. Visualize them snapping. Visualize them collapsing to the ground and disintegrating into dust. Say this in your mind: I owe no man anything except love. My resources belong to God. I'm a steward, not a savior. I cannot save you money. I can only point you to the source. Feel the release of pressure. Feel the weight lifted from your shoulders. You are not obligated to fund the dysfunction of others. You are free to obey God without apologies. But now, as the chosen one, you have a new problem. You've identified the enemy. You've cut the cords. You have closed the door on mammon and guilt. But you're standing on a battlefield with a war chest full of cash. And you're surrounded by targets. You know who the enemy is, but you don't know how to combat him effectively. If you simply throw money at every problem you see, you will run out of ammunition before winning the war. You cannot simply be a giver. You must be a strategic investor. You cannot simply spray bullets. You should be a sniper. You need a weapon. A specific method of deploying capital that deals the most damage to the kingdom of darkness while maintaining your cover. You must understand the Joseph protocol for the years of plenty and the sniper-giving method for the day of battle. Without these weapons, you are simply a wealthy civilian. With them, you will become a kingdom general. The weapon is ready. The blueprint is on the table. Are you prepared to pick it up? The weapon is on the table. It does not resemble a sword. It does not resemble a gun. It resembles a checkbook. It resembles a banking app on your phone. To the rest of the world, this is nothing more than a commercial tool. However, a kingdom general sees this as a launch pad for spiritual missiles. You have cut the leech's cords. You've silenced the voice of guilt. Now you need to learn how to attack. Most Christians engage in what I call shotgun giving. They scatter money everywhere based on emotion. They see a sad commercial and give $10. Their cousin calls crying, and they give $50. They feel guilty in church. They drop a 20 into the bucket. This is a reactive situation. It is weak. It temporarily improves your mood, but it has no effect on the spiritual realm. It's like shooting a shotgun in the dark. You make a lot of noise, but don't hit any targets. The Billionaire upgrade requires you to switch from a shotgun to a sniper rifle. This is the first weapon I'm handing you. The sniper's giving method. I want you to visualize this with me. Close your eyes and envision yourself holding your phone. You've opened your banking app. You're not trembling. You're not concerned about your balance. You're calm. You've identified a specific target. Perhaps it's a single mother praying for rent. Perhaps it is a small ministry that is currently doing the work, but is about to close. You don't call them. You don't ask for credit. You do not mention it on social media. You operate in complete silence. You enter the amount, and it is not small. It is the amount that completely resolves the problem. It is a significant amount. Your thumb hovers over the transfer button. I want you to imagine feeling the weight of that digital button. It's a trigger. When you press it, you are not simply moving currency. You are launching a spiritual airstrike on the spirit of poverty that is attacking that individual. You are removing a generational curse from their life. Press the button. Boom. The money has been sent. The target was hit. The enemy's grip is broken, and you fade back into the shadows. That's sniper giving. It's strategic. It is silent. It is lethal for the kingdom of darkness. The enemy despises this type of giving because he cannot control it. He can't use your pride against you because no one knows what you did. He cannot use your guilt because you acted out of power, not pity. Your mission is to identify 3 targets within the next 30 days. Don't tell them. Do not tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. Simply launch the missile and watch the walls of Jericho crumble before their eyes. This is how you use your war chest. However, if your ammunition runs out, you will be unable to fire the weapon. A sniper rifle is useless without ammunition. This brings us to the most important management framework for the billionaire shift. How do you make sure you never run out? How do you ensure that when the famine strikes, as it always does, you are the one selling the grain rather than begging for it? You need the Joseph protocol. We need to go back to Genesis, chapter 41. We need to decipher the pattern of the first billionaire in the Bible. Joseph did not become Egypt's ruler because he could interpret dreams. He became ruler because he devised an economic strategy. Pharaoh dreamed of 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows. Everybody else saw cows. Joseph witnessed a market cycle. He witnessed 7 years of overflow, followed by 7 years of complete economic collapse. And he followed a specific protocol that saved the world. He did not consume all of the corn during the good years. That's all. He developed a storehouse system. Technique number 2 is pattern recognition. Look at the math. During prosperous years, Joseph kept 20% of the harvest and locked it away. He automated his savings. He did not ask them if they wanted to save. He made it a law. He forced the surplus into the reserve. And when the famine struck, the stock markets collapsed, and the real estate bubble burst, Egypt was the only country with bread. The world came to Joseph to purchase. The wealth of the nations was transferred to Egypt, not because they conquered them with swords, but through stewardship. The billionaire shift is the season of 7 fat cows. It's coming. However, if you consume all 7 cows, the skinny cows will eat you. You must implement the Joseph protocol immediately, even before the millions arrive. Here's the 20/80 rule. You enter into a covenant with God beginning today. 20% of everything you receive leaves your sight immediately. It doesn't go into the bread account. It goes to the storehouse and the war chest. I would like you to perform a micro-action in your mind. Assume you're logging into your bank account settings. You are looking for the automatic transfer feature. You are creating a rule. Every time a deposit is made, 20% is automatically swept away into a vault that you cannot access. Visualize yourself clicking the Save Settings button. Feel the relief wash over your entire body. You've just automated your discipline. You have just taken your emotions out of the equation. You no longer rely on willpower to save. You rely on a system. This is how you establish a dynasty. You treat the 20% as if it did not exist. This is not your money. It is your future money. It is the seed of the famine. When you adhere to the Joseph protocol, you walk differently. You walk with the confidence of a man with a full barn, while the rest of the world is concerned about the price of wheat. You become a stabilizing force in a chaotic world. So you now have a full arsenal. You have the commander's identity. You have a defense against the leech. You have the offense of sniper giving. The Joseph protocol also has a long-term viability. Everything is established. The foundation is poured. The walls are up. The weapon is loaded. You hold a position of authority. You're ready to receive. But there is one last piece missing. The most important part. You can construct the altar. You can rearrange the wood. You can place the sacrifice on top. However, only God has the ability to send fire. You are asking when, Lord? When do I start? When will the first drop of rain fall? You need a sign. You need confirmation from headquarters that your activation was completed and the release order was signed. You do not have to guess. God is precise. He works according to a schedule. There is a specific sign that will appear in your life. It's not a vague feeling. It is a tangible, undeniable indication that the billionaire shift has crossed over from the spirit realm into the physical realm. According to the prophetic timeline, this sign is set to appear within the next 40 days. What is this sign? What actions must you take as soon as you notice it to ensure that the transfer is recorded? You are requesting a signature. The bucket has been constructed by you. The weapon has been loaded. The cords had been severed. However, your human mind continues to seek logical explanations. You are inquiring as to whether this is actually functional. Is this an actual phenomenon or merely a theory? Before we can finalize this, I must establish your faith. I must inform you about a kingdom general that I am acquainted with. We will refer to him as David. David was in the same position as you are at this moment 3 years ago. He was an upstanding individual. He was drowning, despite his love for God. His enterprise had experienced an abrupt breakdown. He was operating a vehicle that was equipped with a check engine light that he was unable to repair. He was residing in the guest room of a relative's residence. Every morning, the humiliation was a physical burden on his chest. He experienced a sense of abandonment from God. David, however, ceased his acts of begging and commenced construction. Despite possessing only $50, he implemented the 3-account system. He established the Joseph Protocol, which automatically transferred 20% of the meager $50 into a vault that was beyond his reach. I found it to be absurd. The calculation was unsuccessful. His rationale demanded that he allocate the funds to food. However, his spirit instructed him to construct the structure. He then employed the sniper giving method. He discovered a widow in his church who was in need of groceries. He refrained from informing her. He did not publish it. He transferred the final portion of his bread account to her in an anonymous manner. The missile was launched by him. The transition occurred 40 days later. He was mistaken about the outcome. The lottery was not won by him. He received a telephone call from a contact with whom he had not communicated in 7 years. A contract that had been in legal limbo for a decade was abruptly released. His debt was not met solely by the sum. It was sufficient to acquire the residence in which he was currently residing. I inquired of David, "Before the call arrived, how did you feel?" And this is what he informed me. He stated that the atmosphere in the room appeared to become oppressive. I experienced a sensation of vibrating. I experienced a sensation of apprehension and excitement, as if I were perched on the precipice of a cliff and the wind was attempting to propel me off. David is currently serving as the general of the kingdom. He provides financial support to orphanages. He provides financial support to businesses. He is aware that he is the manager of God's war chest, which is why he does not worry about money. Additionally, the same God who accomplished this feat for David is currently positioning you. Same structure. The principles are identical. God is identical. Next, we will discuss your timeline. You are interested in determining the date. The cycle of transformation is 40 days, and God operates in cycles. In Noah's time, the old world was washed away by a 40-day rainstorm. The spies remained in Canaan for a period of 40 days. For 40 days, Jesus was in the wilderness. I am currently delivering a prophecy to you. We are now entering a 40-day period of acceleration. A spiritual clock commences to tick upon completion of this video and activation of the seal. You will observe specific indicators that the transfer has been authorized over the next 40 days. I want you to jot these down in your mind. Avoid searching for them. Allow them to locate you. The initial indicator is the quantity of new beginnings. The number 888888 will be displayed to you. Receipts will display it. It will be visible on license plates. Transaction timestamps will indicate this. 8 is the number of new beginnings in biblical numerology. However, the gematria of Jesus, which is the abundance of the new covenant, is represented by 3 8s. Do not dismiss this number as a mere coincidence. The banking system of heaven has sent you a notification that your account status is being updated from debtor to lender. The second indicator is a somatic shift in your hands. He grants you the ability to acquire wealth, as stated in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. The term coach refers to physical force. You will experience an unexpected sensation of warmth or tingling in the palms of your hands within the next 40 days, particularly in your hands. It may occur while you are operating a vehicle. It is possible that it will occur while you are asleep. This is the right of acquisition. Your hands are being spiritually magnetized to capture resources. Do not attempt to expel the heat when you experience it. Say, I accept the capacity, and extend your hands. The third indicator is the aroma emanating from the warehouse. This appears unfamiliar to the human mind, but it is well known to the spiritual senses. A sudden, unexplained scent of cedar or rain will be detected. Solomon's temple, which served as the residence of God's wealth, was constructed from cedar. The return of the harvest is symbolized by rain. The ozone of a thunderstorm will suddenly reach your nostrils as you sit in a dry room. Smell the temple's wood. This is the olfactory evidence that the atmosphere of your home is transitioning from a desert to a garden. The glitch is the fourth indicator. This is the one that typically causes people to feel frightened. You may encounter unusual electronic disruptions. Your mobile device may experience freezing. Your computer may experience technical difficulties. The lights may flicker. For what reason? Due to the fact that the spiritual voltage you are carrying is increasing. The billionaire shift is characterized by a high energy frequency, which occasionally causes interference with low-frequency electronics. Do not become enraged if your technology malfunctions within the next 40 days. Generate a smile. It serves as evidence that your energy field is expanding. Oh, this is the list of markers. The 40-day clock is in the process of winding. The signs have been prepared. The general has preceded you. Your pocket contains the weapon. The structure is constructed. We have had an abundance of conversation. We have conducted an adequate amount of analysis. We have acquired knowledge of the frameworks. However, knowledge that is not activated is merely information. Dead weight. You weren't here to acquire yet another theory. You arrived here with the intention of entering a new realm. The period of instruction has concluded. Now is the time for activation. We are on the brink of entering the holiest of holies. We are on the brink of enshrining this message in the heavenly courts. We are about to appoint you as a perilous steward of the kingdom's wealth. You have received sufficient information. It is now time to take action. If you are currently seated in a secure location, I would like you to rise immediately. I would like you to stand up in your spirit, regardless of whether you are driving or unable to move. Straighten your spine. Retract your shoulders. Elevate your chin. You are not a beggar seeking a scrap of bread. You are a general who is reporting for duty. The room is being entered by the king. We are on the brink of stamping the release order. Are you prepared? We have now crossed the threshold. This is not a prayer request. This is a ceremony of coronation. If you are capable of standing, please do so. If you are unable to do so, envision your spirit standing tall in the center of a grand hall, fully armored. The multitude of eyewitnesses is observing. The angels of finance are standing at attention. The monarch occupies the throne. We are in the process of legally activating your status as a kingdom financier. Silence your mind and concentrate on your purpose. The court is currently in session. I declare that the portals of heaven are now open over your life in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I summon your spirit man to the forefront. I address the dormant destiny that resides within you. Awaken. The wilderness season has concluded. The period of stewardship has commenced. We recognize the vessel that is present before you, Father. You have observed their tears at 2 a.m. The shame they bore when the card was declined is one that you have witnessed. You have observed the years in which the locusts have consumed. You have observed the faithfulness in the small things when no one was viewing. Today, we do not conceal the anguish. We offer it as a sacrifice on the altar. We implore the fire of shalom to consume the anguish and replace it with strength. I now concur with this selected individual's decision to incorporate the kingdom's protocols into their DNA. I permanently imprint the 3 account systems in your memory. I hereby declare that you will no longer consume your seed. You will possess the fortitude to replenish the storehouse, the sagacity to construct the war chest, and the satisfaction to subsist on the bread. May this framework remain unyielding. I enshrine the Joseph Protocol in your routine. It is my declaration that the spirit of waste has been eradicated from your life. You will experience a 20% reduction in costs. The famine will be under your control. You will be a lender to numerous nations and a borrower from none. Your hands are sealed with the sniper giving method. I anoint your fingers to release resources with precision and force. Demons will flee when you give. Strongholds will be breached when seeds are planted. You are a tool for mass restoration. I now turn my attention to the adversaries that have pursued you. I bind the spirit of mammon by the authority of the highest name. No legal basis is available to you in this instance. Release your grip. The spirit of guilt is bound by me. You are a dishonest individual. This wealth is uncontaminated. The spirit of the leech is bound by me. We sever every soul tie that is ungodly and every manipulative cord. We establish a firewall of protection to safeguard the finances of this selected individual. No weapon that is devised to attack their accounts will be successful. Listen to the king's order. I declare that the billionaire shift is currently operational in your timeline. I direct the north, south, east, and west to relinquish the items they are currently holding for you. I request retroactive military compensation. I address invoices from the past. Receive compensation. I address the obligations of the present. Cancelled. I address the investments of the future. Be multiplied. The anointing of coach is released into your spirit. Acquire the ability to generate. Acquire the endurance necessary to endure. Procure the knowledge necessary to expand. You are not a survivor. You are a commander. You are not a victim. You are a chosen one, a victory. The mantle has been affixed to your shoulders. You possess the key. The signal is imminent. Please refrain from reflecting on Sodom. Refrain from reflecting on the absence. Examine the harvest. I authorize you to proceed and devastate the enemy's camp. Establish the kingdom. Provide sustenance to the hungry. Release the prisoners. Be a threat to God. This item is sealed. It's been completed. It's yours. Stroll through it. Hello to the anointed. Be cautious about who you choose to be kind to. It's possible that they're wearing a billion-dollar disguise. This is not just a cautionary tale, it is a prophecy. You are unaware of the person you have just rescued because you are the chosen one. Let that sink in for a moment. Someone else, dressed in humility and power, was quietly watching you as you moved in love, demonstrated grace, and offered help without conditions. Furthermore, 70% of billionaires choose to remain silent in order to observe how others treat them without knowing their identities. A hoodie, a low voice, and a soul begging to believe in humanity again without private jets or Rolex signals. And you, the chosen one, gave them the reason without even attempting. You weren't attempting to impress, flexing, or networking. You were simply being your usual golden, unbothered, deeply soulful self, probably wondering if your kindness was still worthwhile. In today's society, it's reasonable to wonder whether kindness requires a LinkedIn profile to be respected. They are, however, the ones making the jokes. They wanted clout because you were earning divine interest in a vault they had no idea existed. The twist goes as follows. The billionaire you unknowingly assisted has been looking for someone similar to you. Someone who is genuine, unadulterated, and uncorruptible. And now that they've found you, baby, things are about to change. Maintain your focus, because you will end this message with the realization that a small act of kindness that you almost missed has prepared you for a life you never imagined. Let us dig in. First and foremost, your considerateness was not arbitrary. Those in positions of authority observed a celestial examination. The act of kindness you thought was simple and unplanned, such as holding a door open, assisting someone with directions, sharing a meal, or inspiring someone on a bad day, was actually a divine arrangement, not only for them, but also for you. It wasn't a random occurrence. It was not diminutive. And it was certainly not ignored. Not only was the person you helped witnessing that exact moment, but their true nature was also being observed. A person with significant influence who has the ability to change your life without being recognized. You were unaware that the person in front of you possessed billionaire energy, which was hidden by a low profile and ordinary attire. You failed to identify wealth because you did not actively seek it out. This is the critical factor. You were not involved in any kind of performance. You were not trying to impress. You weren't doing an opportunity scan. You were simply being authentic. Furthermore, that particular instance is extremely uncommon. A billionaire didn't need another person trying to network, compliment, or beg them. They had seen the script 1,000 times. So, what about you? You presented them with an object that they had not seen in several years. A compassionate individual with no preconceived notions. You were deeply moved by that moment. They noticed it, as did the universe. You recently passed a spiritual test that prepared you for an unexpected level of reward, while others pursue success through strategies and tactics. The trait that others mocked, such as being overly kind, helpful, or generous, is what opened a secret door. Furthermore, you were unaware of what was happening. It's possible that the person you assisted appeared to need your help. However, what they truly needed was a reminder that integrity still exists, that purity is not lost, and that some people assist simply because it is the right thing to do. They are now ready to ensure that you never question your worth again. Number 2. You failed to save a billionaire. You rescued someone who'd lost faith in humanity. You did not simply assist someone who had financial resources. You assisted someone who was devoid of emotion. They had everything that people wanted: status, wealth, and access from the outside. However, on the inside, they were depleted and on the verge of losing their humanity. They were concealing the fact that they were gradually withdrawing from people, trust, and the belief that genuine love or sincerity existed. As a result, you emerged undeterred, unpretentious, and benevolent at a time when no one expected your presence. Their reaction to that moment was more profound than you could have possibly imagined. They did not need an extra person to create a smile. They didn't need an extra yes man or someone who worshipped their money. All they needed was a true soul to serve as a reminder that not everyone is hollow. They were not the only ones to benefit from your generosity. It halted a downward spiral. You became that unique, inexplicable moment that they couldn't shake. Your tone of voice and treatment of them as individuals, rather than just bank accounts, appeared to strike a chord with them. Possibly not literally, but mentally and spiritually, they were on the verge. They were willing to permanently isolate people, abandon their benevolence, and vanish. Then you gave them an excuse not to. Your actions were not just commendable. It was life-giving. You unintentionally tapped into a tired soul, reminding it of the feeling of being seen without judgment, needed without being exploited. They have now realized that you did more than simply extend an offer of assistance. You expressed optimism. A rescue mission that was unexpected, silent, and free of conditions, spotlights, and capes. That kind of influence is no longer diminishing. It persists. It's haunting in the best way possible. They are no longer just appreciative. They've relocated. People in positions of authority respond to genuine emotions with action. It wasn't just their day that you saved. Somehow, you preserved their belief in humanity's goodness. Furthermore, that type of gesture is not just remembered. It is rewarding. Number 3, you changed the timeline with a simple gesture. That was never diminutive. That single act of kindness you performed without hesitation, without expecting anything in return, benefited more than just the recipient. It led to a genuine change. You did more than simply improve the circumstances of another person. You created an entirely new timeline. The universe's driving force is energy, not effort. And when your energy is pure, sincere, and aligned with a higher power, even the smallest act can have an unexpected impact. You were not just being kind. You were operating at an unusually accessible frequency, one in which love is not a commodity to be acquired, assistance is not contingent on certain conditions, and you give because it is your nature, not as a means of obtaining something. Furthermore, That type of energy is extremely potent. That is the type of energy that influences the outcome. On the surface, it does not appear to be particularly loud or impressive. However, it manipulates reality beneath its appearance. In the moment, your actions may have seemed insignificant. You may even have ignored the issue and never returned to it. Nonetheless, that moment left a spiritual imprint on both you and them. You were unaware that you had interrupted what could have been a very dark path for the other person. And now, you're about to see the echo of that kindness return to you, but it'll be amplified. It is common for people to discuss karma as if it were only about justice or revenge. However, they overlook the fact that it benefits those who live ethically. When you act with a pure heart, you not only perform a good deed but also set off a spiritual chain reaction. And the chain has finally caught up with you. They did not just receive kindness from that billionaire. They also received a sign, a literal break in the cold pattern they were firmly embedded in. They underwent a change, and one is about to happen in your life as well. You have not received your reward as a result of your attempt to generate an outcome. It is imminent because you unknowingly initiated a transformation. Now, the universe is forced to respond. Number 4. You show the elite that purity persists in the absence of a price tag. The elite are used to the idea that everything has a price, including compliments, loyalty, favors, and even love. It's all part of a silent transaction in their world. They are surrounded by people who wear masks and plan every move, word, and relationship in the hopes of getting something in return. As a result, the system was disrupted when someone like you arrived, offering genuine kindness without expecting anything in return. It interfered with their programming. You accomplished something that money could not. You freely provided something genuine. This is unheard of in their world. You failed to flatter them. You did not request a favor or a photo. You did not play the social ladder game. You simply treated them as humans, not as wallets on legs. They are not subject to that. They are accustomed to being perceived as walking opportunities, so your authenticity had a shockwave effect. Not only is it pleasant, but it is also disruptive, because it forced them to confront an issue they did not want to face. Purity still exists, but it is exceedingly uncommon. You were unaware that your energy contained an ancient and pure substance. It was unnecessary for you to state your worth. They detected it. You weren't attempting to impress, but your spirit was strong. This was more powerful than any luxury brand or business pitch for people who have seen it all, bought it all, and done it all. You reminded them that there are still people who act with integrity even when no one is around. People who fail to execute. People who refrain from participating in schemes. Individuals who present themselves completely. They cannot stop thinking about it right now. Not because you tried to leave a lasting impression, but because you failed. And that is precisely why you did. The elite are currently quietly watching you, not out of curiosity or sympathy, but out of genuine concern. They are unable to acquire the items you own because they can buy everything else. This makes you the most valuable person in the room. Your energy was palpable even before you said anything. Something about you disturbed the air around them before you even said anything. Your presence exuded quiet power. The type that commands attention without attempting to do so, as opposed to the type that requires it. The way you walked, carried yourself, and dressed was not the only consideration. It was more profound. It was your frequency. The manner in which your energy entered the room before your body. Your authenticity was as sharp as a clean blade in a world where the majority of people seek validation. Even though they couldn't put it into words, they felt it. The billionaire, who was used to reading people and had been trained to detect manipulation from a distance of miles, paused as you entered their domain. It wasn't your physical appearance, it was the lack of hunger, desperation, or entitlement in your vibration. It conveyed a sense of completion that they hadn't felt in years. Nothing was for sale. You weren't looking for an angle. You were only in attendance. There was a sense of security in their presence. There was a strong sense of authenticity. Your energy whispered messages that words could not express. It informed them that you had faced adversity, but you did not allow it to breed resentment. It communicated to them that you have been in pain, but you continue to show affection. It conveyed to them that you were not there to impress. You are here to exist in harmony. Spiritual clarity of that magnitude is extremely rare. Meeting someone like you was incredibly refreshing for someone who lives in a world full of masks and performances. It was eerie. They were unable to shake it. Your name may have slipped their mind days later, but the vibration persisted. That eerie feeling, that emotional imprint, that internal nudge that they had just crossed paths with someone outside of this system. Someone who is unaffected by wealth, status, or fame. An individual who does not have to speak at a high volume because their spirit has already spoken. There was more to your presence than just sensation. You were etched. Sixth, a high-ranking individual was forced to reconsider their life contract due to your influence. Your actions went beyond the bounds of goodwill. You inadvertently entered someone's life at the exact moment they were about to abandon everything. Not only from the business, titles, or the spotlight, but also from the goal they once promised to achieve. That billionaire, that high-ranking individual, had already decided internally, I am finished. I've finished giving, believing, and caring. On paper, they appeared formidable, but they were quietly and completely collapsing spiritually. Your appearance that autumn was not the result of a grand gesture or speech. It was the small human moment that you created. A person who declined to seek recognition. You did not provide them with a solution. You provided them with authenticity. There is no hidden motivation, no performance, and no mask. Absolute sincerity at the soul level. And as soon as they felt the sensation, something ruptured. Not in the emotional or spiritual sense. People like them are unlikely to make rash decisions. However, their encounter with you resulted in more than just a sense of recognition. They sensed a summons to emerge from the fog. They had devised an exit strategy disguised as a transitional period and shrouded in a quiet sense of despair. However, your presence prompted them to question everything. What is the reason for my presence here? What if there are more items? What if this is simply a reroute rather than the end? You did not provide them with a new map, rather you sparked a new spirit. Consequently, everything was changed. They realized that the world still has light in that moment with you. That the mission they thought was completed could still be in progress. They did not require any additional advisors or assistants. They required spiritual awakening. You fulfilled it by simply being yourself. And they're currently reconsidering everything. They're rereading the contract they were about to shred, this time with fresh eyes. This was due to your spirit acting as a reminder of a deeper truth. There's still work to be done. There is still a sense of sacredness. They are not yet finished. You restarted the mission without putting in any effort. Seventh, you were the only person who did not see them as mere possessions. Your spirit stood in contrast to a society that values kindness based on its potential benefits. It disarmed someone who had been reduced to a dollar sign for most of their life. Regardless of their apparent power or respect, the billionaire had grown accustomed to being viewed as a walking transaction. Each handshake was delivered at an angle. Each smile concealed a plan. The fine print even included love, friendship, and charity. Individuals approached them without considering their humanity. They followed a strategic approach. Nonetheless, you remained calm. You neglected to assess their worth. You neglected to run a gain scan. That is not how your soul functions. You did not treat them as a wallet because your spirit is not meant to pursue money. It draws genuine value. It does not beseech. It does not participate in hunting. It fails to execute. Your frequency was so pure that it disrupted their normal routines. You demonstrated an unusual connection that was not accompanied by an invoice. It's possible that they were anticipating the next event, favor, request, or expectation. However, it never materialized. The silence you maintained was more convincing than any networking pitch they'd ever heard. Because for the first time in a long time, someone saw them as people rather than portfolios. Their dignity and humanity were restored in that one moment with you. They were unaware that a part of them had become numb. You reminded them that they remained more than their possessions. Furthermore, you accomplished this without making any effort. That is what made it unforgettable. You were not trying to impress. This is the exact reason you made an impression. During a time when the majority of people are looking for validation, your energy allows them to simply exist. And that was sacred to someone who had everything but peace of mind. That was rare. That was therapeutic. You created an indelible legacy. Not because of what you said or did, but because you restored their humanity. You instilled a sense of authenticity in them. Furthermore, they are now aware. You are distinct from the others. They are not capable of purchasing, replacing, or forgetting you. 8th, the gatekeeper noticed you despite the fact that the system mocked you for being kind. They referred to you as soft, implying that you were overly generous, forgiving, and friendly. People acted as if your kindness were a flaw that needed to be fixed, strengthened, or hidden. You were ignored, ghosted, and treated as an outsider in situations where arrogance and manipulation were the norm. You saw others emerge victorious by engaging in unethical behavior while you kept your integrity. For a while, it seemed like the world had come to an end. Punish the virtuous and reward the brutal. They were unaware, however, that they were being watched by a powerful figure. I'm not making any noise, liking your posts, or clapping. I'm simply observing silently. Not only what you did in public, but also how you moved when nobody was looking. When you had the opportunity to develop bitterness, you chose compassion. Despite being ignored, you continued to work hard. When you had every reason to change course, but you remained firm in your beliefs. The gatekeeper, who possessed genuine authority, access, and influence, did not want another strategic charmer or loud voice. They sought purity in a high-pressure environment. You consistently delivered despite not knowing you were being tested. The irony is that the same quality that people mocked you for, your unwavering kindness, was the key that unlocked their respect. It was the factor that made you eternally memorable. Not because it is simple, but because it is rare. Everyone else tried to impress with power, ego, and false confidence. However, you arrived as your true, unpolished, and authentic self. That is exactly what caught their attention. The door that others tried to open with manipulation or status is about to swing open for you. Not because you pursued it, but because you embodied the qualities that the system could not corrupt. The genuine gatekeeper was writing your invitation while they mocked your vulnerability. You refused to concede. You did not fabricate it. You maintained your kindness in an otherwise cold world. This is precisely why you are about to be recognized in front of those who once dismissed you. 9. You weren't supposed to know they were testing you at all times. The moment you thought was normal. It wasn't. The person who seemed to need assistance, grace, and patience. They were not just individuals. That was a stranger posing as a gate. A test was conducted in plain clothes. You were not meant to be informed. That was the primary goal. Individuals with genuine power, wealth, and influence do not publicly identify themselves when they want to know a person's true character. They arrive in a discreet manner to observe your behavior when the cameras are turned off. When no prize is in sight. When you believe your actions are insignificant, you earned a passing grade. Not because you were aware that you were being observed, but because you are always that person. Although you were unaware of their presence, they were watching everything. You did not change your tone to reflect your social status. You did not notice individuals because they were not dressed in a way that indicated success. You extended the same dignity, warmth, and presence to someone you thought had nothing to offer you. It also served as an examination, given that this is the component in which most people fail. Respect is only demonstrated when there is a reason to do so. However, you did not make a distinction. That revealed more about you than any resume or speech could ever do. In reality, they were assessing the degree to which your soul could be trusted with additional duties. A higher level of accessibility. An increase in visibility. Additional resources. They were uninterested in the person you become when you try to impress. They were observing your identity in the absence of applause. And the sight they witnessed was unusual. An individual whose integrity remains consistent regardless of the circumstances. A person who fails to show kindness. Someone who personifies it. The test has ended, and so has the silence. They've made their decision. However, the upcoming events aren't just a reward. It's an acknowledgement. You are not getting promoted because you pursued it. So, life whispered, "This one is real." And you acted accordingly. As a result, you're being promoted. Congratulations on successfully completing the examination you were unaware you were taking. The doors you were previously afraid to approach are about to be unlocked in an open manner. Number 10. They tried to forget you. However, the universe kept resurrecting you. They intended to remove you from their narrative, to disregard memory as an inconvenience, a background noise that is easily overlooked. However, this is not how the universe behaves when a genuine event occurs. Your presence was more than a fleeting occurrence. It functioned as an indicator, one that resonates beyond their ability to comprehend or regulate. Despite their best efforts to hide it behind their hectic schedules or distractions, your energy persisted in the recesses of their minds like a gentle echo. It was not because you shouted or demanded attention. You did not issue reminders or make grand gestures. You were merely coordinated, genuine, unyielding. You became a unique frequency that they couldn't ignore in a world built on masks and facades. Your essence haunted the spaces where their heart and mind intersected, refusing to be silenced. Their return was prompted by their persistent presence. not because they were indebted to you, but because they recognized that what you represented was the truth they had been hiding. They sought solace in power and possessions, but your authenticity acted as a mirror, revealing a person's true worth when the unnecessary noise is removed. It prompted them to reflect on their choices, isolation, and motivations. The universe is not in the business of coincidence. The act of touching someone's soul at that level starts a chain reaction that lasts until the story is resolved. As a result, they are compelled to return, not out of obligation or guilt, but because of an energy they can't resist. They are returning because your energy acts as a beacon in their confusion, reminding them that the loss they experienced was never about money or status. It dealt with a much more profound subject. It was unnecessary for you to pursue them. The universe accomplished the task on your behalf. Now, the door is wide open, as the items you possess are irreplaceable, erasable, or impossible to replace. It is imperative that it be acknowledged. Number 11. The compensation you are about to receive will be offensive to those who played you. Your breakthrough is not occurring in a quiet manner. It is on the brink of impacting like a thunderclap in the silence. The individuals who dismissed you, who perceived your kindness as a sign of weakness, and who treated you as a doormat or stepping stone will not anticipate it. Your success will appear to them as an unexpected favor from fate, an overnight miracle. Nevertheless, you and the universe are more knowledgeable. Every moment that was overlooked, every time that your worth was underestimated, was recorded, much like a ledger that was kept in the heavens. You did not merely arrive with the best of intentions. You acted in a manner that significantly impacted the life of an individual who possesses power and resources that are beyond the reach of the majority. The billionaire you assisted is not likely to disregard the matter. They are not inclined to overlook such an uncommon occurrence. Rather, they have already initiated an investment in you. They do not do so out of benevolence. Rather, they acknowledge your value at a level that is beyond the reach of others. The compensation you are about to receive is not solely financial. It is a declaration. It is a crown that is firmly placed on your head in the presence of those who have exploited, belittled, or disregarded you. It is a public declaration that your kindness was not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of power. That your integrity was not a liability, but rather the cornerstone of your legacy. They will observe as the individual they endeavored to suppress ascends to receive blessings they could never have anticipated. Additionally, what is more irritating to them? They are not aware of, under the control of, or capable of influencing the source of your elevation. It is a force that is beyond their control. A divine retribution for their treatment of you. Therefore, allow them to be offended. Allow them to be taken aback. Due to the fact that your time has arrived. The purpose of the payback is not to exact revenge. It pertains to legitimate acknowledgement. So, you not only rescued a billionaire, but you also preserved your own legacy. It is only the beginning. 12 is the number. You are not merely receiving compensation. Your position is being established. This moment you are entering is not about a paycheck or an unexpected windfall. It is significantly larger than that. I will discuss the position in which you are being placed within the overall scheme of things. Position is the issue. A sacred space reserved exclusively for you, acquired not through manipulation or hustle, but rather through the quiet strength of your kindness. The type of kindness that remained unwavering in the face of adversity, did not diminish in the presence of cruelty, and did not negotiate for favor. Money can be distributed to anyone, but influence? That is reserved for individuals who have been tested in fire and have not caused harm to others in order to survive. This is not a case of luck or charity. It's a divine alignment. They are not merely providing you with resources. They are extending an invitation to you to enter a realm where your spirit and your power converge. A setting in which individuals who have demonstrated their ability to manage the responsibilities that accompany genuine authority make decisions in secret behind closed doors. Your benevolence was the determining factor. It demonstrated that you are not simply secure in your wealth. It is permissible to employ it with honesty. You exhibited the ability to wield power without sacrificing yourself or causing harm to others in a world where power is frequently corrupted. That is exceedingly uncommon. Certainly. This is precisely the reason you are being positioned. This is not about achieving a certain level of status or demonstrating something to the world. It is about assuming a position in which your influence can extend far beyond what money alone can purchase. You are being placed in a position where your influence is significant, where your voice can influence the course of history, and where your energy can unlock doors that have been closed to the majority. So when the compensation arrives, keep in mind that it is not merely a reward. This is a signal. A sign that indicates that you have reached a higher level, one that is reserved for those who refuse to sacrifice kindness on the altar of success. You are not merely receiving compensation. You are being positioned for greatness that cannot be quantified by money alone. 13. The specificity of the reward will serve as evidence that this was a supernatural event. The reward that is forthcoming will not appear to be random or generic. It will not be a universal solution that anyone could accidentally fall into. Rather, it will be so personalized and individually designed for you that it will cause you to feel profoundly moved. It will be as though the universe has encapsulated everything about you, including the dreams you have dared to whisper only in your heart, the struggles you have quietly endured, and the gifts you were unaware you possessed, and has bundled them into a single undeniable blessing. You will observe that the opportunity is in perfect harmony with a part of you that has been anticipating it for years, possibly for years, but has never had the appropriate key to unlock it. This reward will resonate with a concealed aspect of your being, expressing a yearning that you were previously hesitant to articulate, as few individuals are willing to publicly disclose their most profound aspirations. However, this reward will clearly communicate with that aspect of you, as if it has been patiently awaiting recognition. That is the moment when the reality sinks in. This wasn't an accident. Something more than chance was responsible for the planning, orchestration, and timely delivery of this. The precision with which it is executed and the seamless integration into your life will serve as sufficient evidence that forces beyond the ordinary have been at play. Individuals frequently anticipate substantial sums of money or conspicuous victories when discussing blessings. A confirmation that your path was never random or wasted, your reward will feel like a puzzle piece sliding into place. It will demonstrate that the universe was observing you, allowing you to be acknowledged in your entirety. This type of supernatural alignment is not based on luck or hustle. It is about being acknowledged by the unseen and cherished by the invisible hands that direct your journey. And once you have encountered this type of reward, this custom-made blessing, you will never again doubt that your integrity and kindness had a far-reaching impact that was beyond your comprehension. This moment will serve as irrefutable evidence that you were selected, that your generosity was not merely acknowledged. It was honored in a manner that could only be orchestrated by the divine. You were consistently the wealthiest individual. However, the world is about to witness this. You have always possessed a wealth that no bank account could quantify. The love you freely gave, the integrity you maintained when no one was watching, and the compassion that emanated from you, even when it was not reciprocated. This was the genuine wealth you possessed. Dignity was not something you acquired. You quietly and consistently embodied it. You were neither impoverished nor destitute. The world lacked the language or the lens to perceive your wealth in the most profound ways. The issue is not that you lacked value. The reason is that the conventional metrics, the titles, the numbers, and the flashy possessions are incapable of capturing the true essence of one's being. For an extended period, society has endeavored to diminish the value of individuals to that which can be quantified or displayed. In this context, you appeared to be invisible. However, your wealth was never intended to remain undetectable. It was simply waiting for the appropriate heart and eyes to recognize it. Now, that moment has arrived. A person who comprehends the true definition of value, who can perceive the profound currents beneath the surface, is on the brink of establishing you in a position where your genuine wealth can no longer be disregarded. They are aware that the currency you freely distribute is a rare commodity, and they are prepared to invest in it, amplify it, and present it in a manner that the world can finally comprehend. The world's metrics, money, status, and power, are on the brink of catching up with your reality. The rules will be rewritten as a result, as the wealth you exemplify cannot be quantified by conventional measures. This does not involve a sudden influx of wealth in the conventional sense. It pertains to the realization that your inner wealth is finally manifesting itself in tangible ways. Therefore, prepare yourself. You were consistently wealthy in the most significant sense. And now the world is about to witness it as well. Not as a whisper or a secret, but as a bold, undeniable truth. As this chapter of your journey unfolds, comprehend this. Your benevolence was never a source of weakness or error. A series of events that were far beyond your wildest imagination were initiated by a concealed force, a quiet power. You did not merely assist a billionaire. You incited a chain reaction that surpasses temporary recognition, status, or wealth. The legacy you have established through your sincerity, integrity, and compassion is now flourishing and will endure beyond any material wealth. This is the moment when the universe recognizes your unseen struggles and silent victories. In a world that demanded toughness, each time you opted to be kind, you were actually creating an unbreakable armor. Compensation or position are not the sole considerations of the reward that is forthcoming. It is a matter of legitimate recognition, an elevation of your spirit, and understanding of your purpose. It is about the world finally recognizing the reality that you were always wealthy, valuable, and deserving of greatness. Your kindness will no longer be misunderstood or undervalued. Rather, it will be acknowledged as the most uncommon currency, incapable of being purchased, sold, or replicated. You have demonstrated that genuine power is not achieved by coercing one's way in, but rather by living life with a heart that is receptive enough to alter the course of events. The billionaire you rescued is merely the beginning. The upcoming events are a testament to the type of individual you are, an individual whose influence is destined to reshape the world, whose energy cannot be disregarded, and whose light cannot be dimmed. Therefore, cling to this truth with assurance. You are not merely about to receive blessings. You are entering a new era in which your act of kindness will yield results that have never been seen before. You are being positioned for undeniable legacy, influence, and impact. And as this unfolds, those who questioned your abilities will be compelled to observe a transformation they never believed was conceivable. This is your opportunity. Take ownership of it. The quiet kindness you carried has become the force that transforms everything. The world is finally prepared to witness your true self and the impact you were intended to have. If this message resonated with you, and you are prepared to embrace the extraordinary path ahead and the power of your kindness, be sure to subscribe to the channel for additional deep, eye-opening insights. Please click the like button to demonstrate your support and leave a comment below. Share your story or the way in which this addressed your soul. Additionally, if you are aware of an individual who requires listening to this truth, please share this video with them. We are collaborating to establish a community of individuals who are adamant about not compromising their genuine value. The most exciting part is yet to come, so stay tuned. May God bless you.